So statins was what you'd use on cholesterol, like a Repatha or anything. So those are trying to lower.
What's a hypertension?
They're called beta blockers, like Enderol, calcium channel blockers. We call it ACE inhibitors. Sometimes we use diuretics.
And so he was still jacked up even though he was on those.
Oh, he was still jacked up even though he was on medication.
And what are the other factors? Like what other things cause hypertension?
Well, I mean, cardiovascular disease, and there are certain, direct genetic links to cardiovascular disease, but they're very rare. But diet, atherosclerosis, narrowing of the arteries, arterial sclerosis, hardening of the arteries, calcifications in the arterial wall can cause pressure to go up. Regurgitations in heart valves can cause pressure to increase. But when you think about the heart as a muscle, right, and all four chambers are circulating blood normally, and it's got a good vascular supply, but it's beating into constricted pipes. Think about what happens. That pressure is going to back up, right? And so we rarely go outside the heart to diagnose whether or not, and for the record, I am not a physician. I'm not licensed to practice medicine. I'm a human biologist. I didn't, learn my trade in medical school. I took 8 years of undergrad and postgraduate education in human biology. But for 20 years, I was a mortality expert in the insurance industry, and I just read medical records for a living. So the vast amount of what I've come to understand about modern medicine has just come from reading thousands and thousands and thousands of medical records. And you can see very often that when people were being diagnosed with high blood pressure, they were always looking at the heart. They never looked outside the heart to say, well, could it possibly be beating into a dysfunctional arterial system? And so in Dana's case, and I should have brought the numbers because I had the week-over-week numbers. It was astounding. We just put him on a simple amino acid called trimethylglycine, an amino acid you can get off the shelf. And what it did was it made up for this genetic deficiency, this lack of code to break down homocysteine. And his body started to methylate to break homocysteine down.
And is this a amino acid that pretty much everybody should be taking?
It's an amino acid that everybody with hypertension should consider if they have high homocysteine.
And say the word again. What is it? What's the amino acid called?
Trimethylglycine, TMG.
Is that
capital T, capital M?
Similar to regular glycine?
No, this is trimethylglycine. It's a little bit different than the amino acid glycine. So trimethylglycine will actually help to metabolize, to help give the body the raw material it needs.
I feel like I should write this shit down. I'm going to write down trimethylglycine.
He's going to be on trimethylglycine tomorrow.
Well, I just want to keep track of all these different things you're saying, and oftentimes I do forget. So trimethylglycine. I'm going to write
trimethylglycine, or just put capital TMG. That's what it'll say on the bottle.
TMG. Okay.
And so, sometimes I use the analogy that, when I was getting my second human biology degree, I was in grad school, get my human biology degree. I had to take all these plant botany courses, which I hated, but you have to take them. Morphology of thallophytes and all these crazy courses about plants. But the one thing that really stood out to me by taking all these plant biology courses is that if there's ever anything wrong in the leaves of a plant, like the tree, the trunk, the leaves, or the branches, and you call a true arborist or a true botanist out to your house, they won't even touch the leaves or the branches of the trunk of the tree. The first thing they'll do is they'll core test the soil. And they'll go, you know what? This soil's deficient in nitrogen. And then they'll add nitrogen to the soil and the leaf will heal. But we don't think about human beings like this anymore.